evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Tuesday, March 1, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Rose Hall clip workers furious after not being paid for the year. Finance Minister condemns repeat of pre-2015 misinformation against AMAILA Falls. Labor Minister's driver killed in AGRICOLA accident. SOCU head files a $70 million defamation lawsuit against Paul SLOWE, and Henry Boyce's murder suspects committed to stand trial. Now for the news in detail. Over 24 community infrastructure improvement project workers attached to the Rose Hall town have not been paid for the year and are growing frustrated with the difficulties they are now facing as a result of the non-payment of their salaries. In our lead story tonight, our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports that some workers have already had their utilities disrupted owing to their inability to pay the respective companies.
An estimated 28 workers under the Community Infrastructure Improvement Project, CIIP, of the Rose Hall municipality are being affected. They say the last time they were paid was since December 2021. It is now 3 months into the new year and the workers have not been paid even though they continue to perform their functions. They get an estimated $35,000 for a 16-day work month. From this, NIS contributions are deducted. For many of them, it is their only source of income. According to some of the workers, no information is forthcoming regarding the lengthy delay in payment.
2 months now we have no pay at all. 2 months. Over 2 months we have no pay. Remember what the town clerk, the mayor and the coordinator need to do. Come out and tell us something about the pay. With this, that's all we want to find out about the pay. Now, you find nobody coming out and tell you nothing. No respect, no regard. Remember, we have bills to pay. Light bill on the one side, GT&T on the one side, Gaiba on the next side. Now, how are we going to end up paying this money?
Jibati Ramkisoon has been working for 15 years with CIIP. The mother of 3, who is also a single parent, says there is no one else she can borrow money from now.
It affects me a lot because remember I single parents. I don't have no one to like say, well, okay, I want to help you with the money. You got to pay bill, you got to pay water, you got to pay light bill, you got to pay phone bill, you got to pay internet bill. There is nothing there.
So
you got to help yourself there. Nothing there for you.
have any of these utilities been cut off? Your water, your internet, your phone or so?
Oh, well, the light, they come to me already. I had to borrow money and pay. I had to borrow money and pay just so they didn't take it away. But the water bill now is 8,900 and something. I borrow money and pay it out.
What about your internet and?
Well, the internet off right now. I can't make it more to borrow. I don't borrow for pay the light bill. I don't pay the water bill.
The phone is off too?
Yeah, the phone is off.
Jordan Thomas is also a single parent, being solely responsible for his teen child since his wife passed away.
We work in and we not get paid and we not get paid at the And since January we not get paid and we work back on next month and this one I'm jumping back in now. Because me get one son and I buy a school. And we get money to look after me to work. You understand? And where we get the money from?
They're telling us, okay, hold on, we can see about it, and nothing. And next person, the last person asks about our money, they tell us that they know about the money, they work, they don't know about the money. So I got bills to pay, I got light bill, water bills. Hard, right now it's hard, because right now I hold water bill, I hold light bill, and I got people working with me and I don't have money to pay them. The people then walk off my job because I don't have money to pay them. Plus I got to eat. Many days me got food rights, I got depend on me children them.
We need somebody to come out and tell us something about the pay. Something they must come out and tell. They have no respect. Okay man, we are so much workers, everybody depends on the work. Over 15 years they work here. But what we feel so bad about, they need to come out and tell us something. They have no regard for the workers.
In an invited comment, Town clerk of the municipality, Natasha Monroe, said it is the local government ministry which is responsible for the payment of workers. She said the ministry explained that the late payment came about because there was no budget and it was only recently passed. According to the town clerk, she was promised that the checks will be made available tomorrow. If this comes to fruition, it will take a few more days before salaries become available in the workers' bank accounts. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh has condemned what he termed the misinformation campaign targeting the AMAILA Falls hydropower project and other major development projects, likening it to the misinformation that occurred before the PPP lost power in 2015. Find out more in this LaWanda McAllister report.
In a statement released on Monday evening, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh criticized what he called the misinformation campaign against the AMAILA Falls hydro and other projects. The minister reminded that detailed studies were done on the project by international technical experts, development agencies, and by a consultant under the former APNU AFC government themselves.
It's a project that was also examined by major international investors. In fact, if we were to cast our minds back to the pre-2014 period, we had brought, the then People's Progressive Party government had brought the AMAILA Falls project to a point where we had a major, large, credible international investor who was ready and willing to invest in this project. What is particularly significant is that when they assumed office in 2015, they then themselves commissioned a study to be done by an international consulting entity by the name of Norconsult, a Norwegian consulting agency that does international work. Norconsult did an extensive study.
This study, which is publicly available, had concluded that AMAILA Falls was Guyana's best option to transition to clean, renewable energy. The finance minister also debunked reports that the government had said GPL would be liable in case AMAILA Falls runs dry. According to the minister, AMAILA will have a 23-kilometer 2 reservoir to hold water. This, he noted, allows the project optimized delivery of energy on an annual basis. Work is expected to start on the 165 megawatt AMAILA Falls hydropower project this year. For the Evening News, LaWanda McAllister.
U.S. oil giant ExxonMobil has rubbished the claims being thrown out regarding its insurance coverage in the event of an oil spill, making it clear that it is fully insured and moreover has billions of U.S. dollars in assets and is negotiating U.S. $2 billion in affiliate company guarantees. Here is LaWanda McAllister again with the details.
ExxonMobil Guyana, in a statement on Monday, emphasized that its insurance coverage meets international industry standards for all oil exploration and production activities in Guyana's waters. The company was at the time responding to commentary that questioned its financial capability to respond to an oil spill offshore.
Recognizing the ongoing discussion and in many cases misinformation around oil spill insurance, ExxonMobil Guyana wishes to categorically state that it has insurance coverage that meets international industry standards for all its petroleum activities in Guyana. It's important to note from the onset that our first priority for every project is to put in place mitigations and processes that help to prevent adverse events by utilizing the best technologies, equipment, and people in our operations.
ExxonMobil said it maintains the industry's only sustained, dedicated, and in-house oil spill response research program, which dates back to the 1970s, and that, here in Guyana, it adheres to an internationally accepted tiered response system used to determine the requirements of response personnel and equipment.
Commentary on full coverage insurance and guarantees inaccurately suggests that ExxonMobil Guyana will not be able to effectively manage response activities. Insurance is just one source of financial assurance that could be leveraged for response activities. The value of insurance will not limit the company's ability to respond to an event, and response activities would certainly not be delayed by discussions with insurers. We have the financial capacity to meet our responsibilities for an adverse event and we are committed to paying all legitimate costs in the unlikely event of an oil spill.
ESO Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, the operator of the Stabroek Block, was established in 1998 and had, as of year-end 2020, almost $5 billion in assets, which is a primary form of financial assurance. This is separate from the assets of the other Stabroek Block co-ventures, who also have substantial assets and share any liability for response activities.
In addition, we're working with the Environmental Protection Agency and our co-venturers to put in place a combined $2 billion of affiliate company guarantees, a value exceeding equivalent guarantees required by regulators in Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom. Contrary to claims in the media, ExxonMobil Guyana never agreed to insurance at a value of $2.5 billion with a previous EPA administration.
ExxonMobil Guyana has invested billions of dollars in multiple oil and gas projects locally. Reporting for the Evening News, Lawanda McAllister.
The People's National Congress Reform will be submitting its list of nominees for the Natural Resource Fund Management Board with individuals it deems fit and qualified, and is aiming to do so at the next meeting. Here are the details.
The 3 to 5 member Natural Resources Fund Board is to be selected by the President, with one of the members to be elected chairperson. The Natural Resource Fund Act provides for the National Assembly to nominate one of the directors, while another one will be a representative of the private sector. Leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Aubrey Norton, told media operatives at a press conference on Tuesday that the party is yet to finalize the names from their end before submission.
We are discussing it, and at the next meeting, we will submit our names. If you have an effective one man on a board, sometimes that one man can be very, very effective. So we will do everything to ensure that our reps are effective, but we understand the disadvantage at which we started. What we have to do is to put our nominees and work towards ensuring that they are professionally competent, etc. So I don't think it is our task to really express a view on those named by the PPP, except for the fact that they need to satisfy certain criteria that should have been set out.
The new bill states that the Board of Directors will be responsible for the overall management, review, approval of policies, monitoring of performance, and ensuring compliance with the approved policies of the fund, while ensuring that the fund is managed in compliance with the Act and all other applicable laws. Moreover, the board is also expected to report to the subject minister, who is allowed to give policy directives as deemed necessary to their functions. In addition, the legislation caters for the appointment of 2 committees, one of which is the Public Accountability and Oversight Committee, which will provide non-government oversight of the fund and comprises various civil society representatives who will have to present a report to the National Assembly annually.
The Caribbean community remains committed to Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and the issue will certainly be on the agenda during the 33rd intersessional meeting in Belize. Gerald Bryan has the details in this report.
This was revealed during a press conference hosted on Monday by CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett ahead of the 2 days 33rd intersessional heads of government meeting. Barnett noted that CARICOM has been keeping a close eye on Guyana's border controversy with Venezuela. This, she noted, has nothing to do with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, since it is usually included as an agenda item regardless.
There are 2 border issues in the region that are on the agenda for every heads meeting. One is the Guyana-Venezuela, and the other, of course, is the Belize-Guatemala. Those are issues that the heads follow very closely. Those are the issues which make the region stand strong on the matter of self-determination and territorial integrity, and that will not change. That has nothing to do with the position on Ukraine in terms of influencing any discussion of those issues. The issue with Ukraine yes, follow those principles, but that's not at all a context within which the border issues within the CARICOM region are going to be discussed. They are discussed at every single meeting.
President Dr. Irfan Ali has, in fact, already arrived in Belize for the intersessional meeting, which is being held in San Pedro, Ambergris Caye. During the two-day meeting, he will join other heads of government from across the region in deliberating on several matters. Guyana, which filed its memorial in the case against Venezuela since 2018 to the International Court of Justice, will have to submit written pleadings on March 8, 2022. Venezuela was given until March 8, 2023 to submit its counter-memorial. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
Attorney-at-Law Mr. Kurt De Silva has been appointed as the legal officer for the Guyana Elections Commission. De Silva holds a Master of Laws degree in Public Law from the University of the West Indies. Shortly after being called to the bar in Guyana in 2017, he served the acting Chief Justice and other judges of the High Court as a judicial research assistant. He then moved on to the Caribbean Court of Justice in 2019, where he currently serves the President and judges as the CCJ as a judicial counsel. In this regard, based on his experience in both the Caribbean Court of Justice and Guyana's High Court of researching legal issues, analyzing submissions in cases from attorneys at law, writing legal opinions for judges, and his knowledge of the new rules of procedure and the electoral laws, the Commission appointed Mr. De Silva as the legal officer. Coming up, COVID, 50% of over 50,000 booster shots from Region 4, and Ministry to furnish PAC with evidence that Amerindian Purpose Fund advances were cleared. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
John Lewis Styles introduces Eddie Domani, Vertical Sport, and Alberto Cardinale, a line of very affordable men's clothing, especially suited for the workplace. Get polos from $2,800, dress shirts from $3,995, shirt jacks from $5,500, and even jeans and dress pants from $5,995. We can supply large companies with special sizes and colors upon request. Come visit us on Waterloo Street and ask for a quotation. Umbrellas, computer bags, footwear, and women's workwear are also available. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Did you know that when you leave your property unoccupied and unmanaged, it deteriorates much faster than you can imagine? Then before you know it, much of your hard-earned investment is wasted. At Hand in Hand Trust Corporation, property management is our business. Whether you travel for long periods, live overseas, or have several properties that require managing, let us at Hand in Hand Trust Corporation take care of this for you. Your property is safe with us. Hand in Hand Trust Corporation Incorporated, a member of the Hand in Hand Group of Companies.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanups, or construction sites. It's simple. Step 1, just pick up the phone and give us a call. Step 2, we deliver the skip bin size of your choice. Step 3, load the skip with all of your junk. And finally, step 4, we take it all away. It's that simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there's no job that's too big or too small. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218-11.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Guyana has crossed the 50,000 mark in the administration of COVID booster doses in the population, in which 50% of the jabs were delivered in Region 4, the most populous district in the country. In this Rupacina Ryan report, you will hear of the progress made in the various regions and the ones which continue to lag behind regarding the national vaccination campaign. Here's more.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony informed on Tuesday that the COVID booster dose coverage has reached 50,639. He gave a breakdown of what this means across the 10 administrative regions of the country.
Of the 50,639 doses, We have administered 987 in Region 1, 2,460 in Region 2, 7,112 in Region 3, 25,235 in Region 4, 3,198 in Region 5, 8,340 in Region 6, 543 in Region 7, 406 in Region 8, 1,812 in Region 9, and 548 in Region 10.
Daily vaccination average is 1,500 doses. Latest statistics reveal that 432,381 persons, or 84.3% of the adult population, received the first dose, while 328,273, or 64%, returned for their second shot. In terms of the 12 to 17 cohort, 33,564 first doses and 24,251 second doses have been administered, equivalent to 46% and 33.3% respectively. The minister highlighted that in some regions, the numbers can be improved.
But the message here is that while some regions have been doing very well, there are others that are lagging behind, and you can see from first dose, there are still places where we need improvement. Region 10, for example, it's relatively low compared to, let's say, Region 4, that is at 94.3%. So Region 10, there's a lot of room for improvement. Region 8 is only at 54.6%, and Region 2 is at 67.4%. So again, the numbers show that not a lot of people in Region 2 were taking their vaccines. In terms of second dose, again, Region 10 at 32.5%, Regions 8 at 44.2%, Regions 2 at 52%, Regions 1 at 55.2%. So these are basically the regions that are in the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
A 24-year-old motorcyclist who was a driver attached to the Minister of Labour, Joseph Hamilton, was Monday evening killed in an accident at AGRICOLA on the east bank of Demerara. Amar Prasad has the details.
Dead is 24-year-old Ninel Berkeley of East Rumvelt Housing Scheme, Georgetown, and of Providence East Bank, Demerara. According to police, the man was riding a motorcycle heading home at around 19 hours on Monday when he crashed into a female pedestrian who was crossing the road at the time. The accident occurred at Agricola on the east bank of Demerara. Berkeley died in the accident, whilst a woman who has since been identified as 66-year-old Shirley Hollingsworth is in critical condition at the Georgetown Public Hospital. The family members of Berkeley were in a grieving state when visited by this newscast and could not comment on the development. Berkeley has been a driver for the Minister of Labour, Joseph Hamilton, since his ascension to the ministerial portfolio. Berkeley had just dropped the minister home and was subsequently making his way home when the accident occurred. When contacted by this newscast, Minister Hamilton revealed that he has known the young man for a number of years, since he was a teenager. Berkeley is an ex-military personnel serving the Ghana Defence Force for some 3 years. He had no children. Meanwhile, upon visiting the public road Agricola home of Hollingsworth, it was discovered that the woman resides alone. According to neighbors, the woman was very active despite being ageable and would usually make trips to the shop around the time of the accident. Neighbors also noted that Hollingsworth, who is said to be a mother of 4, would always make it her duty to use a pedestrian crossing. For the evening news, Amar Prasad.
Head of the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, of the Guyana Police Force, Fazil Karimbash, has filed a whopping $70 million lawsuit against former Assistant Commissioner of Police, Paul SLOWE, over defamation. Bisham Mohammed reports.
Paul SLOWE, suspended chairman of the Police Services Commission, was in October 2021 granted bail on charges related to to fraud and sexual assault. It is alleged that SLOWE sexually assaulted a senior policewoman in 2019 on 3 occasions. It is also alleged that SLOWE, 5 former retired senior officers, 1 current assistant commissioner of police, 1 former female finance officer, and a male officer attached to the police finance office conspired together with each other and other persons to defraud the Guyana Police Force of in excess of $10 million. According to court documents seen by this newscast, head of the Special Organized Crime Unit, Fazil Karim Bashk, is contending that following the charges being instituted against him, SLOWE created a social media program that is broadcast on Facebook and YouTube titled Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. He contended that the said Facebook and YouTube pages were created by the defendant or at his instruction for the sole purpose of launching character attacks on the officers that are investigating him for these offenses in an effort to prejudice the investigations. Karim Bash posited that, quote, since creating the said Facebook and YouTube pages, the defendant regularly publishes and causes to be published defamatory material about and concerning the claimant, end of quote. The SOCU head further cites several instances where his character was brought into disrepute on the 2 social media pages. It was argued that as a consequence of the publication, the claimant's reputation has been, quote, seriously harmed, and he has suffered considerably hurt, embarrassment, distress, and anxiety, end of quote. The SOCU head has since secured an injunction barring the social media pages from publishing defamatory statements against him. Misha Mohammed, The Evening News.
2 of the accused in the gruesome 2020 murders of 2 young boys were today committed to stand trial for the crime. The Henry boys, 16-year-old Isaiah Henry and his 19-year-old cousin Joel Henry, were found murdered on September 6, 2020, 1 day after they had left their number 3 village, West Coast Berbice home to pick coconuts in the back dam. Amar Prasad has the details.
Vinod Gopal of Yakasuri, Blackbush Polder, currently in Berbice, and Anil Sanchara of the Edward Village, West Coast Berbice, were today committed to stand trial for the September 2020 murder of the Henry boys, 16-year-old Isaiah Henry and 19-year-old Joel Henry. The duo appeared today before Magistrate Peter Hugh at the Blairmont Magistrates Court, where he ruled that a sufficient case was made out against the murder accused by the police legal advisor Mr. Mandel Moore. Gopal and Sancharo were jointly charged and remanded to prison on January 15, 2021 for the murders of the teen cousins in the Cotton Tree Back Dam, West Coast Berbice. The badly mutilated bodies of the cousins aged 16 and 19 were found 1 day after they had gone to pick coconuts in the number 3 village back dam. A postmortem found that the 2 teenagers died of hemorrhage and shock due to multiple incised wounds. They both sustained severed spines along with multiple chops about the body. The killers went so far as to carve a huge X on Isaiah's head and cut open Joel's chest. The main witness is 21-year-old Akar Singh, called Monkey, who is the younger brother of Sancharo. According to the confession from Singh, the Henry cousins' murder stemmed from a destroyed ganja farm in the West Berbice backlands. On September 9, 17-year-old Harish Singh was found murdered at the number 3 village backlands. It is suspected that his death was in retaliation for the murders of Isaiah and Joel, since he is related to one of the persons initially held by the police for the cousins' murders. 4 men, including a relative of the Henry family, have since been charged in connection with Harish Singh's murder. For the Evening News, Amar Prasad.
The Ministry of Amerindian Affairs will have to prove to the Public Accounts Committee that advances which were issued from the Amerindian Development Fund between 2015 and 2017 have, in fact, since been reconciled. Here are the details from Jarrell Bryan.
On Monday, the PAC examined the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, which was quizzed on findings in the 2017 Auditor General Report that pertain to the Amerindian Purposes Fund. PAC member Juan Edgel questioned the findings at paragraph 284 that 2 village councils uplifted checks from the fund, but that it was not accounted for in their records. Acting Permanent Secretary Ryan Tulsiram explained that at least 1 council uplifted the money to construct a children's park.
I am advised that the project was completed and copies of the receipts were submitted in the latter half of 2018.
Tulsiram explained that the council's records were not updated until 2019 when the ministry itself inspected the site.
I do not have the month in front of me, but the Management Development Officer visited in 2019 as the information provided in front of me, and the records were updated.
It was pointed out by Edgel that as of September 2018, when the 2017 Auditor General report was published, the records of advances from the fund had not been updated. Tulsiram admitted that even after the transaction had been cleared, they had not updated the Auditor General. To this, Edgel demanded that the documentation be provided to the PAC as proof that the advance was cleared. Tulsiram committed to providing the PAC with this documentation by weekend. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022 at 3 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Purpose River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022 at 16 hours 20 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Mexico schools Guyana in Under-20 Championships, and West Indies no match for all-round India. Details of these stories in this podcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Miners, welders, and contractors. Have broken parts caused you tremendous downtime? Do you need an extra heavy-duty, dependable welding machine that will get the toughest jobs done and can also double as a generator to power all of your tools? Well, your #1 industrial solutions provider Sylvies has you covered. We currently have in stock the Hobart Champion Elite Arc Welder and Generator. This capable electric start generator produces up to 11,000 watts of AC power to run tools, work lights, or backup power during an outage. It can simultaneously deliver 150 amps weld output and 8,000 watts of generator power, and can run up to 14 hours on one 12-gallon tank of gas. This portable generator handles mild steel, stainless steel, and cast iron with a maximum thickness of ½ inch in a single pass. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it our 31 High and Hatfield Streets Georgetown location, we can deliver. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvies Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality, or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rheinveld.
Ultra Lubricants, the leading lubricants for tropical conditions, has been serving you for over 40 years, extending the life cycle of your vehicle's engine by protecting it from wear and corrosion. removes impurities, and reducing frequent vehicle oil changes. Ultra Lubricants is for every market, from two-wheel light vehicle to trucks, construction, agriculture equipment, mining activities, and boating. Ultra Lubricants, world-class lubricants for tropical conditions. Distributed by Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc., and available nationwide.